you're thinking, Yuka. Silk is actually 17. She's not like an old lady or something.
What do you mean? I didn't say a word.
It's rude to tell somebody my age when I didn't give you permission. And also, it is not proper to ask how old a woman is, Mr. Felbio.
I literally never opened my mouth. Yes?
Just so you know, I'm the oldest one.
Again, I didn't ask. Wait, are you being serious? I never would have guessed you were my age. You certainly don't look that old. That's not what I meant. You've got it all wrong.
Don't you hear you? She's so gorgeous.
Can we change the subject?
Recording started.
Farther. Maybe we avoided the beast. There, the Yeoman waterfall. Stay back. Camera at live stream mode.
Starting live stream.
Fun. The Beast King in the far north. That's a high-ranked monster that normally lives in the wastelands or lower dungeon floors. It's not normal for a beast like this to appear in Ordon. Rover's nowhere near strong.
The Journey to the West is one of China's 4 great classical novels. It's an ancient allegory for enlightenment, and it's approximately 2,000 pages long. As such, it's not exactly a text I could easily summarize in a single video of rational length. Anyway, The Journey to the West is packed full of symbolism, dense literary context, and some majorly influential characters, and it's widely 2,000 pages long. As such, it's not exactly a text I could easily summarize in a single video of rational length. Anyway, The Journey to the West is packed full of symbolism, dense literary context, and some majorly influential characters, and it's widely agreed upon that the most memorable of these characters is Sun Wukong, the mischievous Monkey King. Sun Wukong's most famous mark on the modern world is probably Dragon Ball Son Goku, a character specifically designed to emulate the abilities, appearance, and overall impulse of the influence is somewhat based on the character's explosive appearance in every form of media, which is why I thought this story is a character in the Journey to the West. And that Long Xuanzang, a character so vital to the plot that we don't even know he exists for the first 7 chapters, which are instead devoted exclusively to the life of some missions and legends. Now, I am not making that big. Structure of the text. This first video will be covering the history of Sun Wukong and then the characters, so see that actually getting to this while having considered this text is mostly beginning with paradise full of dragons, magic birds, and beach trees, and a really big rock. Allow me to direct your attention to this rock, as it is about to perform a magic trick. The rock splits in half, revealing that this rock is special. It's actually a rock egg cause for convincing that I'm jumping at waterfalls. Monkey King. So the monkey is like,
Did somebody say impulsive?
So on the other side of the waterfall lies a gorgeous cavern decked out with an iron bridge and an enormous stone statue furnished with all the Monkey King. So the monkey population far away now, but increased in security for some years for fighting monkey. Years and 2 continents later, he finds
Two
an
continents?
emerald Taoist sage who lives on top of the mountain of heart and mind in the cave with a slanting moon and 3 stars. Man, these names are a mouthful. So the immortal sage Subodhi takes on the Monkey King as one of his disciples, and he gives him a new name, derived from a large number of increasingly complex character traits, and long story short, his name is now Sun Wukong. So after a 7-year training montage, Subodhi finally teaches Sun Wukong a way to become immortal, which Wukong starts practicing. Another 3 years go by, and Sun Wukong is feeling pretty good about life. He's practicing the Tao, he's functionally immortal, and life is good. But Subodhi warns him that he's not out of the woods yet. Turns out, the Court of Heaven doesn't actually approve of this method of immortality, and will send down 3 calamities in an effort to kill him, one every 500 years. First, they'll strike him with lightning. Then later, if that didn't work, they'll set him on fire. And finally, if neither of those do the trick, they'll straight up disintegrate him. This understandably wigs out Sun Wukong, but Subodhi offers to teach him the art of the earthly multitude, which will let him transform into 72 different things. With this, the 3 calamities won't be able to touch him. He also teaches Wukong how to fly, just because. But, unsurprisingly, giving awesome cosmic powers to a suicidally impulsive magical monkey leads to some wacky hijinks, and Master Subodhi has to kick him out so he won't accidentally reveal his secret teachings. So Sun Wukong, now immortal, 20 years older and hypothetically wiser, at last returns to the Water Curtain Cave on Flower Fruit Mountain, and he returns just in time since the monkey population has been being harassed by a monster known only as the Monstrous King of Havoc, who's been intermittently stopping by and kidnapping them to use as servants. So Wukong goes and challenges the monster to a duel and proceeds to absolutely kick his ass with his newfound Taoist superpowers, and then he rescues the captive monkeys and flies them all back home. So all is well on Flower Fruit Mountain, but Wukong decides that his monkey kingdom should probably have a monkey army so stuff like the kidnapping thing doesn't happen anymore. On that note, Wukong also takes a trip down to the Dragon Palace in the Eastern Ocean to see if the Dragon King has a weapon befitting his strength that he could borrow. Long story short, after dismissing every superpowered weapon the Dragon King offers him, Wukong ends up taking an obscenely heavy magic size-changing iron pillar out of the palace treasury and using it as a staff. So Wukong's very happy with his new weapon and asks the Dragon King for some fancy new duds to go with his fancy new stick thing. And by now, the Dragon King is so terrified of this super powerful monkey that he gathers all of his dragon brothers and together they assemble a fancy outfit for Wukong just to get him out of their house. When he returns to Flower Fruit Mountain to show his mates his gear, he gets so hyped up that he briefly turns into a huge demonic caricature of himself, which terrifies the local demon population so much that demon kings show up at his front door to form an alliance with him. So life is going pretty well for the Monkey King, until one day, while taking a nap, he's abruptly kidnapped by 2 emissaries of Yama, the King of Hell, who carry him off to the underworld. Wukong is understandably pissed, seeing as this is technically death and violates the whole immortality deal, and he starts bashing his way into the Palace of Darkness to lodge a complaint with the 10 Kings. So the 10 Kings are like,
Whoa, there must have been some kind of mistake. I mean, there must be a bunch of dudes named Sun Wukong, right?
and Wukong is like, yeah, right, show me where that's written down. So they sort through all the ledgers of the dead until they find the one about him, and he scribbles out his name, along with the names of as many monkeys as he can find, thus freeing them from the jurisdiction of the underworld gods. Satisfied, Wukong bashes his way back out of the underworld, then wakes up and tells all the monkeys the good news. But all is not well in the Kingdom of Heaven, as the Jade Emperor finds himself inundated with complaints about this Monkey King who keeps causing trouble. So at first, the Jade Emperor wants to have him arrested for his shenanigans, but the spirit of Venus suggests instead that they offer the Monkey King a position in the bureaucracy of heaven, whereupon they'd be able to better control his actions and easily discipline him if need be. The Jade Emperor gives the thumbs up, and they send down the Gold Star of Venus to deliver the offer to Wukong, who eagerly accepts. So the Gold Star takes him up to heaven and takes him to meet the Jade Emperor, who appoints him the position of Pima Wen, which makes him the head of the Imperial Stables. So Wukong thinks that's pretty sweet, and he's fairly chill with the whole situation until he thinks to ask what exactly his rank is, whereupon he's informed that Pima Wen is actually the lowest possible position in the entire bureaucracy of heaven. Wukong, being a bit of a diva at this point, is understandably pissed, and once again bashes his way out of heaven and returns to Flower Fruit Mountain to sulk. So Wukong decides to make himself feel better by calling himself the Great Sage equal to heaven, and meanwhile the Jade Emperor learns of his temper tantrum and sends down several celestial soldiers to capture him. The first among these is the Mighty Spirit God, who challenges Wukong to a duel. Wukong's like, dude, just tell your boss I want a better title. And the Mighty Spirit God is like,
Why don't you tell him yourself? In hell.
and gets utterly destroyed for his troubles. So then Prince Nana confronts Wukong, who's like, what are you, 12? Look, kid, just tell your boss I want to be called Great Sage equal to heaven, alright? And Nana's like, I'll show you who's 12, and transforms into a big scary monster with a butt ton of weapons. Wukong is, of course, unimpressed, and matches the transformation with one of his own. They fight for a while until Wukong gets the drop on Nana with duplicate and smacks him with his stick thingy. So they tell the Jade Emperor what happened, and the Emperor is all like,
Don't look.
You resist arrest. We must execute
reason. But the Gold Star of Venus, apparently the only voice of reason in the entire heavenly bureaucracy, suggests that rather than risk their entire army on one super powerful immortal monkey, they just give Wukong what he wants, an empty title. So they do, and an apartment is set up in heaven for him to lounge around in and not cause trouble. Unsurprisingly, Wukong is completely down for spending his days languishing in heaven, being waited on hand and foot by celestial spirits determined not to give him a reason to go on a rampage. But one of the resident Taoist immortals suggests that Wukong might end up getting bored, which carries with it the terrifying possibility of the great Sun Wukong rampaging from heaven looking for entertainment. So Jade Emperor signs a relatively harmless but time-consuming duty to Wukong, taking the garden of beaches and immortality. Wukong's super down for that. He finds that having to maintain a garden full of delicious and majority-friendly beaches without eating any of them is impossible to more impulsive for him to handle. So if you've been taking notes, this means he's found double one. But this comes back to bite him on the butt when the time comes for the Queen Mother of Heaven to hold their annual beach festival. There are 7 color-coded immortal beaches in the world, and find out what's going on. The beaches, they interpret Wukong up and decide that he wants to go to the festival. So Wukong paralyzes the baby and first gets a letter number to the buzzer. Funny things like this, it's why you weren't invited in the first place. So when he arrives, he's immediately distracted by his fellow flying and proceeds to make all of the fighters alive and his bullshit. All the guys are video more like this loud super person is. What kind of goddamn it? He doesn't work. Three guesses as to what Wukong does. Now for the one way focus so that might not be as much fun as far now still be back to flower fruit mountain to escape the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, the 7 immortal maidens and the wine carriers, the people in charge of the banquet, Lao Tzu, the officials from Wukong's apartment, and the immortal Wukong impersonated all independently present their grievances to the Jade Emperor, who quickly puts 2 and 2 together and dispatches pretty much the entire army of heaven to apprehend Sun Wukong. Now, of course, because Wukong is absurdly powerful, this is ineffective, and what was supposed to be a simple capture mission turns into a full-scale battle between the forces of heaven and Sun Wukong's army of demon monkeys. Now, while all that drama is happening, who should arrive at the heavenly palace but the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin and her disciple Moksha, who came for the Peach Festival and are understandably surprised to find the heavenly palace in complete disarray. So Kuan Yin asks what all the fuss is about, and upon being briefed, she sends Moksha down to get a sense of what's going on. So Moksha arrives at Flower Fruit Mountain just in time for Wukong, who's been thoroughly kicking the collective asses of the army of heaven, to demand a fight with somebody. So Moksha and Wukong battle for a while, but Moksha unfortunately can't quite keep up with the Monkey King and has to return to heaven in defeat. But Kuan Yin, now better briefed on the situation, suggests a god who could be sent to fight Wukong, Erlang, a powerful loose cannon of a deity who don't play by the Jade Emperor's rules. So they summon him, and he goes to confront Wukong, who's like, hey, if you don't mind, could you send out the Devarajas to fight me, because I'm
Devarajas?
And Erlang is like,
His lord is your enemy.
and they fight. They both end up turning into Godzilla-scale monsters, where Wukong inadvertently terrifies his own army into a rout with how scary he looks. And in turn, the sight of his own fleeing army disheartens the Monkey King, who shrinks down and runs away. But Erlang isn't going to be evaded that easily. He uses his magical third eye. Fine, turning into an insect. Erlang responds to Sparrow Hawk in response to Wukong's transports on the wonder, and this kind of goes on for a while. Egyptian rules of fun. In the end, it's our buddy Lao Tzu who manages to capture the Monkey King by trapping him in a diamond snare. Last parts of the execution block. These report effectively how to make the word immortal, since nothing they throw in hurts him in any way. So the Jade Emperor is at a loss as to how to kill him. Lao Tzu has a suggestion. They stick him in his magic brazier or big fire and leave their innings. It should be able to separate out the elixir of immortality from his body, and as a happy consequence, he betrays the Monkey King about his dead future. So maybe not fascinating. Extract the elixir and get mind it instead of attached to something wrong. Awesome red buttons. So Wukong is 110% done with himself. So Buddha and his 2 best disciples, Ananda and Kashapa, go to deal with Wukong, who is at present fighting 36 thunder deities, because why not? So Buddha asks Wukong what he wants, and Wukong's like, you know what, I'm kind of feeling like overthrowing the Jade Emperor today. Wouldn't that be fun? And Buddha's like,
Tell you what, I'll make it that with you, okay? If you can successfully jump out of the palm of my hands, I'll believe that you're qualified to rule heaven in this place.
and it's time for another exciting round of What Will Sun Wukong Do Next? Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen.
Here comes this.
Buddha's hand until he reaches the very edge of the universe itself, where he finds 5 pillars supporting the sky. Wukong decides to leave a memento of himself there, graffitiing one of the pillars, and then, for good measure, peeing on it. I mean, he is lucky. So Wukong backflips all the way back to Buddha's palm like, shows what you know, old man. I made it all the way to the pillars of the universe. And the Buddha's like,
Is that so? Well, I have questions for you. See, one of the perks of enlightenment is that I'm one with everything, and as it turns out, that's not just hyperbole.
sure enough, written on one of Buddha's fingers is Wukong's graffiti, along with the faintest whiff of monkey. It turns out the whole universe is a common. navigate's complicated, which for most parts apparently may have come seems stupidly easily, but at least they can manage to sail on top of the mountain. It's beautiful. Sitting on the mountain spends the next 500 years.
Of course I get one shot. For the crime that got him exiled to the river in the first place. He accepts the offer and is given the name Sha Wuqing, or Sandy for short. Don't ask me how Sandy is short. Sha Wuqing!
Kuan Yin and Moksha continue on their merry way, whereupon they encounter a pig demon wielding a huge rake. He and Moksha fight for a little bit until he notices Kuan Yin and immediately stops the fight in favor of asking her for forgiveness, because he's made something of a habit of eating people who come along the road. You know, because he's a demon. Kuan Yin again suggests that he join the pilgrim too when he comes along this way and thus be forgiven for the whole eating people thing. And the pig agrees, and Kuan Yin is putting this pilgrim in question of Kuan Yin gives him the name Chu Nang, Pigsy for short, and heads off, leaving Kuan Yin extremely vegetarian. So they continue on, when surprise, they encounter yet another charming individual who potentially help romance and then was mysteries of original tropes, in this case, a local character. In quacks the fire to protect his transgression against fire safety has been sentenced to death by the Jade Emperor. Dragon, and the Cheetah Rex into a nearby river, where she instructs him to turn into a life force when the pilgrim passes by to help him reach his destination. Anyway, they continue on, only to encounter an unexpected luminous mountain, the mountain of fine faces, and the emperor is the Monkey King. Girl, great to see you. It's been really lonely for the past 500 years. In case you hadn't already guessed, is our soon-to-be protagonist. Now, Xuanzang has one of the most complicated family histories in all of epic protagonistdom. I won't recount the whole thing here because that would take all day, but basically he's the grandson of an emperor. He's been raised as a monk his whole life after being Moses by his mother, and he's the reincarnation of Golden Cicada, an original disciple of the Buddha and a holy being. So Xuanzang is basically the best guy ever, and a total sweetheart despite the wacky circumstances of his birth. So long story short, 3 court officials convene to select a worthy monk for reasons completely unrelated to Kuan Yin's mission, and of course they select Xuanzang, the biggest Boy Scout in all of ancient China. Anyway, Kuan Yin catches wind of this and goes to see if he's worthy of being the scripture pilgrim. She finds her way to the court officials and gives them 2 of the various gifts the Buddha had given her to give to the pilgrim so that they might give them to the most virtuous monk they know. So Xuanzang gets a beautiful robe and a priestly staff, both courtesy of Kuan Yin, and Kuan Yin learns that Xuanzang is the best man for the job. So the grand mass, which is the thing that they selected Xuanzang for, happens, wherein Xuanzang has to present a memorial to the Tang, and Kuan Yin takes the opportunity to steal the show by revealing is captured by demons almost immediately, and Trumataca's 2 attendants are killed in each case. So the demons finish their attendant buffet and bunker down for the night, leaving Trumataca to ponder the exciting nature of which we have been mysterious event. Man's like, don't ask me questions, here's what so Trumataca the old man's about. Explaining that he was the golden star of Venus himself, providing a helpful bit of divine intervention, so Trumataca goes by himself for about half a day, and to discover that he really doesn't have a constitution for all this domestic nonsense. Everything. So Tripitaka manages to get the seal off the mountain, and after he backs off to the minimum safe distance, Wukong breaks the mountain in half and zips on over. So Tripitaka and Sun Wukong continue westward together, but they've hardly gone 10 feet down the road when suddenly they're beset by bandits. So Wukong's like, "Don't worry, Master, I know exactly what to do in this situation."
And they're dead.
Kill the bandits with his trusty stick thing. But Tripitaka's like,
Son, we don't kill people.
and Wukong's like, "I think you mean you don't kill people." And Tripitaka's like,
No, you're Buddhist now. Buddhists do not kill.
and Wukong's like, "Ooh, look at Mr. Big Shot over here telling me who I can and can't kill." And storms off in the house, which, if you'll recall, is not even considerable mobility, needs the monkey king is over the right before Tripitaka can get over the So Tripitaka heads off on his own for a bit when he runs into a mysterious old woman holding a fancy shirt and cap. So the old lady's like, "Hey,
68%.
stupid rapper disciple just totally ditched you or something." And Tripitaka's like,
Got it, one mysterious old woman.
like, what do you say? And we're going to give these fancy numbers and this smell. Because she was really one in, so thus far Tripitaka's too much to being gone. Dragon suggests that he go back to Tripitaka and we would like to back westward on in the process.
Oh yes, the complimentary enormous fuck you dragon. Tripitaka got way back when. It's called a cassock, by the way, and takes it into his head to steal it, and to that end, he decides the best way to go about it is to burn down his own monastery. Well, it's not very zen of him, so Wukong smells the smoke, weighs his options, and decides the best way to solve the situation without pissing off Tripitaka is to let the monks burn their monastery to the ground. But first he borrows a fireproof cloak from one of... The journey to the west is one of... So our story begins on Flower Fruit Mountain, and I... Oh wait, yeah, I see what happened.
To the west is one of China's four great classical novels. It's an ancient allegory for enlightenment, and it's widely agreed upon that the appearance and overall impulsive goofiness. Now, I am nothing if not faithful to my source material. So in King Dragon's Magic Birds, Immortal Peach Tree, actually a rock egg, no, not that one, and it appears to have inherited. He hangs out with a friendly population of not stone monkeys. Bit about life. He's practicing the... Oh, so all is well on Flower Fruit Mountain, but Wukong decides that his monkey kingdom should probably have a monkey army, so stuff like the kidnapping thing doesn't happen anymore. On that note, Wukong also takes a trip down to the Dragon Palace in the Eastern Ocean to see if the Dragon King has a weapon befitting his strength that he couldn't borrow. Long story short, after dismissing every superpowered weapon the Dragon King offers him, Wukong ends up taking an obscenely pretty magic size-changing iron pillar out of the palace treasury and using it as a sacrifice. So Wukong's very happy with his new weapon and asks the Dragon King for some fancy new duds to go with his fancy new stick thing. And by now, the Dragon King is so terrified of this super powerful monkey that he gathered all of his dragon brothers together and said, "Well, fancy which terrifies the whole human population so much that demon kings show up at his front door to form an alliance with him. So life is going pretty well for them. Until one day, while taking a nap, he's abruptly kidnapped by two emissaries of Yalan, the king of hell, the very monk of the underworld. Wukong is understandably pissed, seeing as this is technically death that violates the whole immortality deal. He starts bashing his way into the palace of darkness, the part of the fight. His way back out of the underworld, then wakes up and tells all the monkeys in the camp that all is not well in the kingdom of heaven. inundated with complaints about this monkey king that keeps causing trouble. The jam wants to have him arrested for his shenanigans, but the spirit of Venus suggests instead that they offer the monkey. He then gathers all of his dragon brothers and together they assemble a fancy outfit just to get him in some jams. He returns to London to show his mates his gear. He gets so hyped up that he briefly turns into a huge demonic caricature of himself, which terrifies the local demon population so much that demon kings show up at his front door to form an alliance with him. So life is going pretty well for the Monkey King, until one day, while taking a nap, he's abruptly... Last time on the journey to the west, the mischievous Monkey King, Sun Wukong, after achieving even more havoc in heaven. Artifact if he can take it off, so it's also spot welded to his head. After a few very entertaining minutes of Wukong trying furiously to escape the hat by any means necessary, he eventually resigns himself to the fact that he won't be able to get up to his usual hijinks anymore. So the dynamic duo continue onwards with the balance of power now tilted slightly more evenly. It doesn't take long before they arrive at a nice calm stream that happens to be home to an enormous huge dragon.
Oh, yes.
Nopes the hell out of there with Tripitaka in tow, and the dragon takes the opportunity to eat Tripitaka's horse. So Tripitaka freaks out since without a ride he's stranded, but he's also too scared to let Wukong leave him alone. But a bit of timely divine intervention arrives to protect Tripitaka, leaving Monkey free to confront the dragon. So we fight it out for a bit, but the dragon sticks through it and dives to the river bottom and refuses to come out. Wukong does some magic shenanigans and draws the dragon out again, only for the dragon to turn into a water snake. At this point, spirits love this dragon actually have to like she gives him free get out of danger-free magical leaves, so now with a matter of getting resolved to everyone's it's called the castle, by the way. The king's head was to steal it, and he decides to chest it for that. Find out that during all the confusion about the lunch break and locks himself in his mountain. So Wukong sits back in the monastery for snacks and returns to the mountain to sneak in. So Wukong disguises himself as an old monk and goes to party with the mountain demon and he didn't want it. Way to sneak in and get the castle back. One did disguise himself as an Alice friend. So the Monkey King disguises himself as a friend. Deliver mortality. Long story short, Wukong beats up the demon from the inside. No, next time on Journey to the West. Last time on the Journey to the West, Tripitaka his journey to the Thundercloud Monastery, where he is soon joined by the powerful but foolhardy Sun Wukong. Though the Monkey King was originally too stubborn and reckless to be controlled, the Kuan Yin saved Tripitaka from an early end to his story by inflicting a curse of restraint hold on the uncontrollable Monkey King, forcing Wukong to finally put someone else's needs before his own. After defeating a monstrous river dragon, who then joined their team, the trio soon found themselves faced with new perils, for the mountains are full of greedy and murderous demons, and our heroes have a very long way left to go. So our heroes continue westward and arrive at the outskirts of a nearby village, where Wukong notices an apparently unusual-looking young man. He immediately grabs the kid and starts interrogating him about the village, and although he's unsurprisingly rather reluctant to answer, the young man, whose name is Cao Tsai, eventually spills that something's actually amiss, and the village isn't quite so idyllic as it looks. See, a while back, a big ugly monster shapeshifted into a handsome dude and married a young woman from Cao Tsai's extended family. Then after the marriage, he, let himself go a little, and his father-in-law, the patriarch of the family, objected rather strenuously to having such a hideous monster as a son-in-law, so he sent Cao Tsai out to find someone to exorcise the demon, which has so far been unsuccessful. Now, of course, Monkey's like, boy, are you in luck. I happen to be an expert at kicking demon ass. So they enter the village and talk to the patriarch, who confirms that 3 years ago, the super handsome dude showed up asking for his youngest daughter's hand in marriage. The patriarch agreed, but the handsome dude turned out to be an ugly shape-shifting pig demon instead. I make an online dating joke, but I'm more surprised by the fact that with shape-shifting as ubiquitous as it is in this world. Why doesn't this kind of thing happen more often? So anyway, even though the pig demon's a pretty hard-working guy, he's super ugly and kind of possessive, and all the patriarch really wants is his daughter back, and for the pig dude to not be affiliated with him or his family anymore. So in this exciting episode, Sun Wukong gets to serve divorce papers. So Wukong casually rescues the patriarch's daughter. Yeah, like that'd be hard for him. And then shapeshifts to look like her and lies in wait for the pig demon. Soon enough, the demon returns, and Wukong's like, oh man, darling, my parents are just being so rude about us. I hear they're getting someone to exorcise you. Oh, no need to worry, sweet cheeks. There's no exorcist alive that can hurt me. I think they said his name was Sun Wukong? Well, it's been fun, sweetheart, but I need to go disappear for a few. Where are you going, darling? So they fight, and Wukong chases him back to his secret lair at Platypus Cave, and along the way he learns that the pig demon actually used to be a member of the Court of Heaven, who got sloppy drunk, hit on a woman way too many times, and got turned into a monster and kicked out of heaven as punishment. He would have been executed, but our boy the Gold Star of Venus intervened on his behalf. Not to be jaded, but that kind of seems like the only thing the Gold Star of Venus does. So then they fight, and it's awesome, but then the pig demon calls a timeout and runs away. So Wukong returns to Tripitaka and fills him in, and takes a moment to sass the patriarch cow for being a pretty bad father-in-law to his relatively hard-working demon son-in-law. And then he zips back to fight the pig demon again. So they fight some more, and eventually Monkey asks why the pig demon's fighting him with a rake. The demon's like, a rake? You were saying? I think I put this rake out, please. It's rake-wielding pig demons. Very simple. Pig demon that formed in and lists the tell.
Alright.
The journey will be absolutely filled with monsters and demons, less electric needs to be totally helpless in this path that teaches us for the rest of the story. Anyway, Wukong flies back to the cave with the tiger demon's corpse and taunts the cave demon until he comes out to fight. So they fight for a while, and eventually pretty quick match. Wukong busts out a special attack and duplicates himself. The cave demon counters with his own BSOP special and whips up a veritable hurricane of wind that blasts Wukong with enough force to temporarily blind him, making it impossible for him to continue fighting. Wukong and Pigsy manage to escape and try to figure out what to do next, and they find their way to a nearby cottage where a friendly old man and several young farmers let them stay the night. The old man also gives Wukong a healing balm for his eyes, and when he wakes up the next morning, he can conveniently see again. This is also when he learns that the cottage never existed, and that the old man and the farmers who took care of them were some of the heavenly spirits assigned to help Tripitaka on his pilgrimage. Okay, the rules for what these god dudes can and can't do are hella arbitrary. I'm starting to think they're just messing with them. So Wukong decides to try the stealth route for this particular mission and turns into a mosquito to sneak into the cave demon's lair, whereupon he finds that Tripitaka is both still alive and rather grumpy at his delayed rescue. Way up, there's one of the cave demons being so the cave demons calculates that either he managed to kill Wukong with his wind, or the monkey king ran off to get help. But that'd be absurd, because there's only one person who can resist the cave demon's wind, and that's the bogus Link Chain. So Wukong subscribes to Pigsy and looking for the sky's gold star of Venus. My god, that is all he does. They find their way to the home of Link Chain. Situation, the book stopped to explain that he was in the cave demon, but only remained in the mountain so long as he didn't hurt anyone. So he was flat to the mountain. Busts out, and it comes around the cave demon, and the demon starts charging a special attack. Right before he unleashes him, Lin Chi throws the flying dragon staff at him, whereupon it turns into a screw dragon, and plunks the cave demon into the mountain so hard that he reverts back to his true form, which is apparently a mink. So Wukong and Pigsy rescue Tripitaka, and then they manage to kill anyone they're very good at, so now they're just turn into the river. Status takes hold and dives into the map. Ends it by whacking the river spirits with the arm. The spirit will be sabotaged by the demon, wherever our heroes are planning their next move. They agree that, unfortunately, the river spirits probably have ways better getting Tripitaka across the river. There's just one more. It's easy to go down there. It's
You
The
have
human
no business
will?
being this disappointing. Okay, so now that the story's been entirely set up and our cast has been assembled, the journey to the West becomes very episodic. It's real Monster of the Week kind of thing, with a new mountain and corresponding monster every couple chapters. Now, they're all good, and you should really just read the books. But for the sake of education and also pure fun, I'm going to be covering the more memorable, dramatic, or funny episodes in a series of shorter videos with one to each episode, while skipping over the filler and the 8-chapter power-up sequences. So get ready for a journey to the West.
8-chapter power-up sequences? Really? They get power-ups? And I don't know about it?
Last time on Journey to the West, the virtuous monk Tripitaka found himself added to the menu of an evil cave demon. His powerful wind laid even the mighty son Wukong low. With the help of the Bodhisattva Ling Chi, suddenly Tripitaka decided to execute Mount Flame to defeat the cave demon and save their master. Only to encounter a threat in the form of a cunning and powerful river spirit that followed their way. Unable to fight him underwater, some were wrong again, and to rely on the skills of King to learn the demon out. Previously enlisted Tripitaka's third disciple, now with a rival of his disciple, or gone from the journey. Seems like you to trick West with the way you don't have to stretch him out. Time for some sense. You'll find himself carrying. Lifestyle, she's about to swoop around rather than in air, but she recognizes these two former celestial warriors in that top of the she expects herself to be a she's more impressive and crazy. It's his word when the spirits from the south side about having to hear for her ancient parents. Since Walter's trying to put Tripitaka in but she's not at all poison ice, so he flies back to their envelope and she's in this special demonized. So he drops it and he puts out a credit stick. Tripitaka panics and grabs him because seriously, he's explained their motivations. So Monkey's like, alright, you listen. This guy freaks calls him hunching. That's like man-eating vegan trick number 1. No, I did it all the time, that guy. Well, amazingly, this stirring argument fails to convince Tripitaka, so Monkey's like, alright, I get it. How about I give you 2 love birds a little privacy? Tripitaka's paralyzed and apparently Monkey smacks him in the face. Tripitaka's like, what you doing? She's supposed to have a run at it. That is, not to the big trade room. The Tripitaka oh shit, come on, what's going like? Tracks on after burying the Tolkien dropped her body right at the moment of impact and skedaddled off into the sky, eating a bite of love. She starts working on how to get rid of Loki so she can get some of that sweet man flesh. So she turns into an elderly woman and hobbles up to the group like, please, many of you see my beautiful innocent daughter. I hate to think that something happened to her. So he obviously instantly kills her, but yeah, the Tripitaka flips out, uses the migraine spell, and they start to kill her. Monkey's gonna fly it, but he's getting sick. Disability and they're getting so they agrees to take Monkey on as a disciple since he's very confused without an action. So then they continue on together, considering they spot mistakes, old man, distance, and big stuff. Yes, clearly this is the patriarch of the family that's so close and cannonlessly murdered for no reason. This is great news. Escape justice and needs to take the blame. You haven't noticed your protagonist is in this chapter, so she went on this migraine down this time you and after your official letter and he's expressing the light of his sleep and the last song. So was home on about that's the only place stress will break down the rat. But let's take a look at what just happened was massive resistance to centuries
Oh, you thought you could run away.
You know, these things are basically they are always vitally influence the human mind, and the way they act is the way we act. It's not like Baker, which is a great noble person very close to us. These characters are fake. Basically, we can see ourselves in them. Anyway, Strupataka and friends have been done to find out back to the camp, where they find Strupataka missing and he's like, "Oh, check out that building. You better get closer." Police decide to do it. Sounds like a great idea. Finding great, but even with the fact that the previous gods have been assisting Strupataka on his path, Sandy makes it really right to understand still. Well, that's why. So she brings her back to the land. Obviously, she denies it. Her gets Cindy about it, catches on and denies it too. So the demon immediately switches off the rhythms and gets all buddy-buddy with his wife again. He decides to bail for his father. Saved her life.
Oh! Oh! Yes, I've been waiting for that. Oh yeah.
Pixie comes crawling back, hoping to get some help in rescuing Sandy. Instead, he gets chewed out by the horse for being too overconfident and ruining everything. Pixie decides the same course of action will be to pack his things and return to his peaceful life in the village with his own kidnapped wife, but the horse is having precisely none of his sass today and refuses to let him leave, unless it's to go apologize to Monkey and get him to sort this all out. So Pixie reluctantly flies off to Flower Fruit Mountain, whereupon he finds Sun Wukong hanging out with his enormous monkey army. Pixie tries to sneak closer, but Monkey spots the intruder and has his monkeys bring him up to the front. He immediately recognizes Pixie, and after being assured that he hasn't been banished too, Pixie, rather than owning up to the disaster scenario, instead tells Monkey that nothing's wrong. Tripitaka just missed him so much. So Monkey's like, neat. In that case, let's just hang out for a little while. So Monkey leisurely spends his morning hanging out on his beautiful mountain and eating fruit, while Pixie tries to find ways to persuade Monkey to leave right this second without seeming too desperate. After a while, Pixie's like, well, we sure kept our master waiting. We should probably go. He's like, oh yeah, great. See ya. Pixie's like, wait. He's like, no, I got banished, remember? Besides, I got a good thing going here. Tell Tripitaka not to bother me again. So Pixie leaves, but he's only a few miles down the mountain before he starts ranting and insulting Monkey. So Wukong has his monkeys recapture Pixie and bring it back to its life band. So the truth comes out as Pixie explains how everything went wrong, although he doesn't know she wants to motivate Monkey to help. So Monkey flies to the demon's lair and immediately abducts two of the demon's children, offering to release them in exchange for Sandy. Pixie's thrown back inside the prison. Sandy was he didn't know he brought the back to his lair. Meanwhile, he shapeshifts into the princess and makes the cave for the king to return. So Sandy dropped the key to the ground, stealing them, but it's okay. And the demon, to come over while we fight, decides to these long passes. So even then, use the opportunity to get the solid hit. Once Rico vanishes, Lucky's in multiple directions and can't find him. Once he's in the air, finds the demon must have been the spirit, which is why he couldn't find him anywhere on Earth. So he lost his way to heaven and things like a fourth time. Debates know what spirits want to count. For example, just stop the gun, just learn from the state of principle. See, it turns out the princess was actually a mother. In this case, an instance. Will Pixie stop being dragged around by his own base desires? Will Sandy never put up by judgment? Will Monkey learn the benefits of communication? And will Octopus never do anything plot relevant again? Find out next time on Journey to the West. On Journey to the West. body is kind of broke a bit, no pressure or anything. The GF is like,
Just like you.
it's not suggests that all they might have to decide which way to and the actually they have this giant fan black feathers on the stuff. Just now, it was does not give back on that. It's never go back to the box. They got lost in the but so he has to actually mother to dinner and to make sure to tell her to bring her sacred treasure, which is gold. But decides to steal that treasure too. And after stealing the lover, kills them and duplicates himself. Monkey goes to get to meet the mother, absolutely hating the fact that he has to kowtow. But he cheers up significantly because someone when he turns her and he's dead. And she turns into her and so like it. Demons freak out. Demons offer their mother a taco. She says she has that exact moment, the demon thinks it's worth it to say that he found her mother and retire from the dead. Monkey recognizes his cover's blown and books the banshee of blinding flash of red light. At this point, the older demon brother is like, alright, this is worth it, let's just do it. But the younger one is all like, let me find him, jump and when I win, you can stop worrying. So Monkey gets the good idea to try and turn the tables by using the golden rope to trap the demon. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually know how to use it, so the demon just catches it, throws it back, and recites the spell that actually does make it work. It's a trick. Much, but quickly realizes that he won't make any progress that way, so he just drags him back to the cave, ties him up, and takes the Gordon vase back. Pigsy makes fun of him for a bit until Monkey turns his staff into a steel file and breaks out, turning into a demon servant and leaving a duplicate in his place. At which point Pigsy, whose only role in this particular story is to cause problems, yells that Monkey's escaped. Fortunately, the demon brothers have kind of learned to tune Pigsy out at this point, so Monkey pockets the golden rope and zips out of the cave without too much difficulty. Now Monkey really wants the Gordon vase back as well as the other two treasures, so he decides to test a theory. He knocks on the door and insists that he is, and I swear this is not a joke, Grimple's son, brother to Pilgrim's son, the Monkey King. Having given the demon brothers a big name, he hopes the Gord won't suck him in when they call his name. But as it turns out, it does, which is a bit of a setback. Fortunately, Monkey remembers that one time Lao-Tzu stuck him in a razor for 49 days, and he couldn't cut him down, so he's not really concerned about melting, he just needs to find a way out. So he goes all, get to the mountain because the demon is gone. Please consider it sneaky tactics.
Oh, I didn't know this one. I instantly believe you. Howdy, folks. I need a storm.
The great dragon served as just the ultimate. So once we get back to the cave, again starts like trying to bust out the loop. Somebody would fight with the sap. Dragon only breaks out the rain, but the flames we unexpectedly down and actually gets stronger because the true fire is not too hot without what else. Tries to find red now, as we previously established, fire Monkey's alive, but it's apparently messed up, both functionally and physically. It's not that he can't rescue the monkey, set on fire. So he can lose then, since they can't solve this on their own. Unfortunately, they're able to meet the instead, so they can set off the power to let them in. But Red Boy doesn't. So he takes he tells Pixie that Red Boy is an eminently reasonable guy and they should just go to his cave and talk things out with him. And of course, the minute they get to the cave, Red Boy ambushes Pixie and takes him prisoner. Meanwhile, Monkey gets a bad feeling about how long Pixie's taking and drags himself off to the cave to see what's wrong. He reflexively picks a fight with the guards, but immediately realizes he won't actually be able to take them in a fight, so he transforms into a fancy but harmless gold scarf, which the guards bring into the cave. After a little duplicate and replace action, Monkey turns into a fly and starts snooping around. There he finds Pixie tied up in a bag yelling about how he got tricked, but before Monkey can break him out, he overhears Red Boy ordering 6 of his minions to go and invite the venerable Great King over to dinner. Monkey takes a gamble on who the venerable Great King might be and takes a page out of Red Boy's book by transforming himself to look like the Bull Demon King, then intercepting the minions en route and heading back to the cave with them. So Red Boy is like, "Father, you won't believe what I've caught. It's that reincarnation of Golden Cicada, the monk Tripitaka." And Monkey's like,
Whoa, Tripitaka? But I hear he's under the protection of the terrifying and devastatingly handsome Sun Wukong. You best be careful. That tricky monkey can be anywhere, looking like anyone. His shape-shifting powers sure are impressive, is what I'd say.
"There's nothing impressive about that. And his power to get animals. I'm sure I'd recognize the difference."
Are you sure about that?
Anyway, Monkey says he'd love to eat Tripitaka, but he just can't. See, he's trying out this new diet where you go vegetarian 4 days a month, and, well, he doesn't want to break the streak. But Red Boy gets suspicious of that because his dad is always down for doing things. So Red Boy's like, "Hey, father, it's not mine, but, any chance you could tell me the exact hour and date of my birth?" And Monkey's like,
Oh, well, I'm far too old to remember such a weirdly specific fact about you.
and Red Boy's like, "My father never shuts up about my birthday," and attacks. Monkey reveals himself, throws in the last bit of sassing, and vanishes in a flash of light. So Monkey returns to Sandy, who first interview, only part of the run.
Wake up!
Monkey arrives at Monkey's found and info dumps the situation. He responds to characteristic grace and she was terrified first. She flies for a change and answers in her face. But she kind of didn't do purpose. Face back. But she asks him to do that. Red Boy is so confident in his round that he thinks maybe he'll just take a seat right beside his feet and that's and she's so by way of illusion, in an arsenal of blades, the divine duo defeated the demon, and Tripitaka was once more restored to his place in...
Get a little dirt for the dirt man. Get a little dirt and then I throw up for the dirt man. So he won't drag me down.
But the demon's got more pressing matters to attend, namely drafting up an invite for his uncle, so he doesn't follow to the surface. As Sandy and Monkey discuss what to do, a mysterious old man suddenly appears and introduces himself as the Black River God. He quickly clarifies that he's not the demon that abducted Tripitaka, he's the true god of this river. But several months ago, this demon stormed in from the Western Ocean, kicked him out of his house, and set up shop in his fancy pavilion. When he filed an official complaint, he discovered that the demon's uncle is Ao Shun, the Dragon King of the West, and thanks to nepotism, there's nothing he can do. He's such a small-time god, the Jade Emperor will never listen to him, so he's hoping maybe Monkey will be willing to take matters into his own hands and do a little vigilante justice. Monkey's like,
A Dragon King? Oh, I've threatened all those guys before. BRB, I'll sort this out. That's all the Western Ocean.
he intercepts the messenger carrying the invitation to come meet Tripitaka, then marches up to the palace to have a little chat with the Western Dragon. It's expected to have some wait around with the friendly guys, as the dragon didn't have anywhere else to go, so the dragon advised him to travel to the subsequently ready to make his own position. Later, he had no idea his nephew was actually alive, and he's soon access to the dragon king his son. His husband. So planning and Monkey head back to the river and finding his husband to take care of the next. Just before I was insane to show up the next one. Actually see it. Realize how dangerous it is. All of that kind of damage. And then it leads to the point, and the takes out the game. You know, you take this. When it means Tripitaka takes the Black River out to sort of replace things. At the same time, while the rest of the gang fades away from the noise, Monkey flies into the spot instead of the city in the distance and explodes the aircraft. This is where we're now it's time to see terrible. So Monkey sidles over to the pumps to get their side of the story, though not before that it's cheerfully explained that the Taoists enslave all those in the city. They enslave any person who travels in the city, which will obviously be a problem for the God. They say even their lives are hopeless and how to die because they keep getting saved from death and visited their dreams by a bunch of gods, telling them to stay alive. So when he heads back over to the Taoists, and it's all like, what's the coolest thing? To all of the things. It's obviously
scared to the light. So Monkey gets in there and tells all the monks to scatter until they can be safe. He gives all the monks magical protection before he gets hairs. Each hair will transform into a guardian lumber spirit, which is really concerning most of the monks are not which reminds how to his biggest activity is death. Stop when Monkey puts him in a situation where many monks last night sitting yet put them up for him. Stressed out to sleep, so he decides to investigate a giant Taoist temple that the portals had built. He finds that the Taoist temple also inside now since again this is a sign to call it night to keep suspicion freaks out and sits on benches. Leads to some ladders. Now it's runs away. So see the robbers and the string of their prayers to break them immediately. Take their offerings while they're here. Is that they were indeed summoned by a super effective prayer, but they're just not the festival, which is Taoists are very insistent, since they can't get doesn't taste very good, and once they realize they so it's probably best not to that. Just this adventure might be over. Swagger in regards to apprehend our heroes for really mischief in the Taoist temple. He says that that's ridiculous. They're ridiculous. They don't know anything about this. He's a mother. And they did. They've done it. They've ended that. Just as for lives, then an outlaw just suffered from a trap. King has a bright idea. He suggests they turn into a competition. Whoever shoots out of the town it's obviously when the tiger strike the mortal betrayed his stick. As soon as they run into Monkey, they freak out. He explains the situation, and they all agree to help him out instead. So 5 strikes and exactly no rain later, Monkey pops back down, tells Tiger Strike the mortal to quit embarrassing himself, and hops up on the podium. Monkey pulls a nervous Tripitaka up on the stage and tells him to recite the Heart Sutra and he'll handle the rest.
Heart Sutra
begins, and Monkey signals the gods overhead, and they unleash a truly biblical storm. Gale-force winds, sheets of rain, the works. The king is thoroughly convinced, but the Taoists aren't done yet. They suggest that maybe the dragons they summoned were just late, and the storm was really their creation after all. So they successfully fix the king again, but Monkey's like, okay, well, tell you what. I haven't dismissed the dragons yet, so they're all chilling invisible overhead. If you guys can command one of them to appear, you can take the win. If not, I'll get them to show up, and we take them. The king has never seen a dragon before and is very excited, and sure enough, the Taoists can't compel any of the dragons to show themselves, where it just takes a stern-looking monkey to get all 4 of them to strut their celestial stuff. But the Taoists aren't willing to give up so easily, and they convince the king to let them do one more competition to determine who's actually cool. This one, a meditation contest, where each participant will fly to the top of the tower and meditate for a predetermined amount of time. This is actually a problem. Monkey can do a lot of things, but sitting still is not one of them. But Tripitaka can. During his monk training, he recalled meditating for years at a time, so this competition should be a snap for him. Monkey flies him up disguised as a cloud, and Tripitaka and the goat strength immortal begin their meditation competition. But the deer strength immortal decides to cheat to help out his fellow Taoist and summons a bedbug to bite Tripitaka. Monkey notices Tripitaka's distress and flies up to investigate, removes the bug, gives Tripitaka a couple scritches, then turns himself into a centipede and bites goat strength immortal in the fates. Goat Strength Immortal flings himself off the tower in surprise, and Tripitaka wins. But if you thought the Immortals were gonna gracefully lose, think again. They have one more challenge for you. This one is their wings. They ask the king to use precious drink to see lack of bugs at the Great Strength. What it is, the Immortals has quite a list of things to but Monkey like bugs, box, and panic that transforms both of them. That is the base. Tripitaka gets just as shocked as those starters in Tripitaka's right. They try it with more times, but Monkey just keeps faking them out. Like the investigation humans demand one competition. See, they're not called immortals for nothing. They all know how to survive having their heads cut off, their hearts removed, or being destroyed. So, since like that, except the loss. It's absolutely sad. Show off how to destroy these.
Yes, this is hardcore! Ignorant, deep fried peanut butter.
Freaks out as if he wants to be a ghost, because otherwise he'd have made a fall like Mark dead. He's calls himself out, tries himself off, gets himself back to that guy for insinuating he could be dead. The king is all set to give him their papers and let him go, but Monkey insists that go to take his turn himself. So he does, but Monkey is suspicious and tests his very to touch. Monkey needs a whole time to keep the fire from being royal and contacts the old Dragon King. The Dragon King has to never know that.
Oh, sweet. I got a half off sale. Years.
Freaks out and does what their best. Far away is not a single time, so they can't go. So, officially running out of ideas, Monkey decides to make one of the things he rises to the sea. Especially by one of the men on the street. It's a whole story. That's what fun He has no idea what's going on, but he knows it's bad news. So he immediately backpedals and Monkey begs Monkey for help. Monkey knows the way outside, but this time Monkey listens. Nobody knows about it. I'm not sure what's going on there, but they don't tell us to take it down. So now Monkey is fast as still. Let's talk about it. Drops your basket in the water, recites a spell, and then retrieves the basket, which now contains exactly one very confused goldfish. Then she tells Monkey to go save Tripitaka.
Okay, we're good.
Demon. Everyone's saying hello. So yeah, it turns out the demon was actually Kuan Yin's beloved pet goldfish, which got powered up by listening to her lectures and decided to turn into a demon and start eating kids. She was very upset when she realized he was missing and dove straight into finding a way to get him back, which is why she was so unput together today. Because of a goldfish. Pixie got beat up by a goldfish. With the boss demon out of the way, they easily rescue Tripitaka, and meanwhile, the townsfolk are so awed by Quan, I woke up like this yin, that they all trip out to worship her and make a bunch of art about it. With Tripitaka unkidnapped and everything basically resolved, they still have to figure out a way to cross the river, which is when a huge white turtle shows up. Apparently, he's the guy who actually owns this river. With Goldfish gone, he's back in charge. As thanks for restoring his position, so with that fishing business sorted out, our heroes continue on the adventure to the west. And they do for a while. The weather gets colder and the going gets hotter. Eventually they run into a huge mountain barring their way. It's not totally impressive. It's very narrow and treacherous, probably very wild animals, so they're into it. Tripitaka suggests they stop there and get some stuff. Surprisingly, the seem deserted except for a very large skeleton in an upper room and 3 very shiny uniform vests. Pigsy grabs the vests and reports back, and Tripitaka is mortified that he desecrated a grave, but Pigsy reasons the dead guy's not about to complain, and he and Sandy put him on, which turns out to be a bad idea, as the vests are enchanted and immediately tie them up. What? A trap? I can't believe it. So, unsurprisingly, this region is ruled by a demon, specifically the old and powerful single-horned rhinoceros king. And this whole place is a trap he set up. He has his minions cart the gang over to his cave and demands an explanation from Tripitaka, who apologizes for his disciples' rudeness and asks that they please be allowed to continue along their journey. But the demon's not exactly in the negotiating mood, since he knows if he eats Tripitaka, he'll regain his youth. But Pigsy brags that Tripitaka's absent disciple is none other than the Monkey King, which does make the demon hesitate, so he puts them in cold storage while he figures out what to do about Monkey. Speaking of whom, Monkey finds the circle empty, the suspicious demony town gone, and the gang nowhere to be found. What a surprise. He follows the horse footprints for several miles without finding anybody, and is starting to get seriously disheartened when a couple of travelers tell him that they saw his companions getting kidnapped by a very powerful local demon. Monkey's about to run off to find him when the travelers reveal that they're actually the local bounty hunters, as they pay full price for them. Monkey is pretty pissed they disguised themselves, but they point out that he is pretty dangerous to deal with on a bad day, which he acknowledges is fair. He's becoming self-willed. So Monkey starts searching for the inevitable demon cave and eventually spots a set of double doors on the mountainside guarded by a bunch of imps. He lands, knocks on the door, and orders the demon to come out and face him. Now, the demon is actually stoked about this because he's been craving a worthy opponent ever since he first descended to Earth. His imps bring him his lance, and he goes to confront Monkey. They banter for a bit. The demon accuses Tripitaka of stealing from him. Monkey insists that Tripitaka is way too much of a weenie to do something like that, and they fight. It's an epic battle, and just about evenly matched. The demon comforts Monkey screams the demon is not actually bad. Responds by tossing the staff in the air and magically multiplying into a large orange once. But it turns out this is what the demon was waiting for. He pulls out a very cheap arrow, goes into the air, Monkey balls shoot back with the staff, and the ring disappears. Now, the demon's on the heads. There's no choice but to run. The demon uses his hand and tries to run. Investigation, but can't find any place, so he offers a sense of God's love monkey. Monkey's like, sit on for he says which is these 3 and 6 on we think they're better judgment that they didn't try throwing lightning too. They try and think of a weapon to bring food set up, they maybe fire the star of the 5-winged bird-shaped god in charge of the Mars. Turns out to be a mild bureaucrat who's significantly less powerful than the other warriors in play. He's going to be held out to him. This is a different the star of the which is all its luck. Monkeys and fires which are also praying and disappearing. Dang it, this nuts pretty flying and Steve. Monkey's not a bad he goes to the power fastness of the rest the star of the wielding a small white jade chalice and water to the element. The star of water virtue chokes the flame, laying on the water. Down, fortunately, the star of water virtue did off to the Thundercloud Monastery. Oh boy, how would you tell Tripitaka it's that easy? Buddha is kind of surprised to see him there, all alone without Tripitaka and the others, and Monkey fills him in on the situation. Now, Buddha figures out who the demon is pretty much immediately, but refuses to tell Monkey because he knows Monkey doesn't know how to shut up, and would instantly brag about how he learned the demon's true identity, and he just really doesn't want to deal with that right now. So instead, he has his 18 Arhats gather 18 grains of cinnabar sand to magically paralyze the demon. Monkey jokes around with the Arhats, who seem like too, so they fly the Monkey, then the demon tells him Man, this guy sucks. Damn it. I thought earlier I would have said it. The two of the Arhats tell Monkey that Buddha secretly told them that if the sand didn't work, Monkey should go and ask Lao Tzu for help. Monkey's cranky they couldn't just tell him that in the first place, but you know how Buddha does, so he jets off to go bother Lao Tzu. But as he's filling him in on the situation, he noticed something's missing from Lao Tzu's lab. His green buffalo is conspicuously absent. Apparently, he had one of those, and apparently the lad guarding it thought eating a random elixir pill he found on the ground was a super good idea, and it knocked him out for a week straight, during which time the green buffalo escaped and headed to Earth to fulfill his dreams of fighting worthy opponents and beating monks. Searching the lab, Lao Tzu realizes his diamond snare is also missing, and used to find and capture monkey I think that's the truth. Jade Ring, the demon's been using this to literally stop. Lao Tzu grabs his fan and storms off. It's very draining. When Monkey and Lao Tzu arrive on the scene, the demon freaks out and looks the ring, which no one goes. Lao Tzu catches him, and then he swings the fan, and the demon in the end converts to his true form. Lao Tzu leads the only demon damaged the card riding the buffalo back to its lab. Gives the weapons and rescue. That turned out very well sorted out. They are finally back on track to continue their journey to the west. Tripitaka's luck with mountains and rivers finally apart. It makes him learn to stop being the inciting incident in every episode. What was that thing about an empire only with this time on Journey to the West?
Boosh!
By the time they arrive, uncharacteristically uncatchable and yet scales, they have made to reveal the demon's true nature as a wish a real thing that I swear
About 3 more.
She snaps back and it's time out again for her sight. The next morning, Monkey is feeling like so sneaks into the cave to see how Tripitaka is doing, finding him very disgruntled but thoroughly on the bone. Tripitaka suddenly wakes up the demoness by loudly declaring that Monkey needs to rescue him right this minute because he's totally uninterested in boning anyone and the only thing he cares about is getting those scriptures. That means it's about fight o'clock, so Monkey zips out of the cave and Pixie smashes the door in. They fight for a while before the demoness whacks Pixie in the face with that mysterious weapon and puts him out of commission. She heads back inside to stew while Monkey and Sandy try to figure out their next move. They're not having that much luck fighting the demon because they're really not even sure what she is. But luckily, Monkey spots an unassuming old lady nearby who's positively radiant with auspicious light and realizes Kuan Yin must have gotten impatient and come by to see what the holdup was. Kuan Yin reveals herself and explains that the demoness is actually a scorpion. The trident she uses on her claws and the mysterious weapon that keeps taking them out is her stinger tail loaded with a seriously potent poison. She used to listen in on Thor's lectures until one day she got snippy, stung his hand, and ran. It's why she's like Kuan Yin also says she can't help him directly, but she knows who can. Points Monkey in the direction of Star-Lord Mel, the spirit of one of the 28 inventions corresponding to the Pleiades. Kuan Yin goes savage and zips up to heaven to track down Star-Lord Mel, bounce around a bit before he eventually finds him. Monkey explains the situation and Star-Lord Mel realizes there's no time to waste on pleasantries, and they both get back to the mountain. Star-Lord Mel has the affects the scorpion being's poison, so Monkey and Pixie get back in fighting for and smash out the door again until they have to switch to that Star-Lord
Journey to the West.
Dragon Kings, and the monkeys in Flower Fruit Mountain will probably just laugh at him. In a way, he really doesn't fit in anywhere. Which is when he remembers that whenever there's trouble, he can always just go to Kuan Yin. So he does. He zips over to the Great Southern Ocean, says hi to Moksha, and has a little good-natured sniping with an hour-formed red boy. They lead him to Kuan Yin, who asks him to tell her what's wrong and to please stop crying. Monkey tearfully explains the situation and how all he wants to do is help Tripitaka complete his journey and achieve enlightenment for both of them. Kuan Yin points out that Monkey had a lot of options for dealing with those bandits that weren't full-on murder, and he agrees that he was wrong, but he should have been given a chance to do better rather than just being fully exiled for his mistake. He plans to go to the Buddha to ask him to remove the golden circlet that binds him to Tripitaka's quest, but before he can, Kuan Yin takes a quick peek into Tripitaka's future and tells Monkey that Tripitaka will be in great danger soon. What else is new? And he'll need Monkey's help to get out of it, at which point they'll reconcile and be able to move on with each other. Realizing he's not quite out of the story just yet, Monkey settles in and starts demolishing Kuan Yin's Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and
Sandy
Jerry.
thinks he's so smart to Western, which Tripitaka's getting a little hungry and asks Daisy to go find him some food. Unfortunately, the Buddha doesn't have some food. So Daisy flies pretty far away from him. Takes so long to about how thirsty he is. Sandy follows Biggs and hurries out towards Tripitaka's and sad and suddenly exile him, and he understands why he's angry, and if he's not willing to come back with him to rejoin the group, he at least return all their stuff so that they can continue their journey.
Oh yeah, Yellowbrow. Absolute cinema.
And finally, there's the sixth macaque, really unleashing a very sensitive hearing, knowledge of past and future, and comprehension of all things. With all this laid out, Buddha declares that the false monkey, who is clearly aware of distant events in order to maintain his disguise, must therefore be the six-eared macaque. The macaque, now exposed, freaks out and tries to run, but he's quickly surrounded, and when he turns into a bee to try and escape, Buddha traps him under his golden alms bowl, revealing his true form. Sun Wukong, enraged at what the six-eared macaque put him through, kills it, which upsets the Buddha, but Monkey points out he was guilty of assault and robbery anyway, and any court would have had him executed regardless, which I guess is better. Anyway, with the false monkey situation officially dealt with, Buddha says it's time for Sun Wukong to return to Mitaka, and while Wukong is convinced that he'll never take it back, Monkey goes with him and very kindly informs Mitaka that the Buddha himself said it was wrong to pick out Monkey, and now if he wants to survive the journey, he'll focus on helping Monkey become a better Buddhist and disciple rather than just keep Mitaka in the trouble. Kiritaka takes the hint and accepts Monkey back into the game. Everyone filled in on the ultimate situation. Baron Blood is officially developed in the gang and continue their journey to the Buddhist. Defeating his dark reflection of the dark hero once shadowed by mistrust and manipulation. Once all brother are able to release people's own
explains his recent exploits and asks him for his help in acquiring the fan. The Bull Demon King is already pretty pissed right from the jump, but the audacity to ask him for a favor against his own wife is the last straw, and he attacks. He and the Monkey King clash in a truly spectacular battle, but is cut short when the Bull Demon King gets a dinner invitation he really can't turn down. So he calls a timeout and zips back to the cave to get ready. Sun is evidently too confused to stop him, but does decide to secretly. Dinner party to see if that gives him any leads. The Bull Demon King disappears into a mountain containing a deep lagoon, so Sun turns into a crab and scuttles down after him, where he finds a bubble containing a all kinds of aquatic animals snapping a huge party with a bunch of dragons. The Bull Demon King has a special guest of honor. Unfortunately, Sun, a sharp-eyed rich ruler, and immediately notices the crab out of place. But Sun quickly gets another story about how he's just a humble country crab who don't know nothing about their fancy palace ways. So he manages to escape the fake crab quality, but is still kicked out of the party. Remembers he can shapeshift and decides to just steal the Bull Demon King's bride and pretend to be him. He flies back to Jade Cloud Mountain, perfectly disguised as the Bull Demon King, where he is, of course, greeted with the highest honors by Princess Ironfang, who very politely asks him what could have possessed him to leave his hot new concubine and return to her humble abode. Sun is like,
Well, you see, I've heard tell that the devilishly handsome Sun Wukong is on the hunt for the Palm-Leaf fan. I just want to make sure you keep it safe. You never know who might see.
Princess Ironfang tells him that Sun Wukong is already struck, but not to worry, she fooled him with a fake, and he'll never find the real one. Sun asks where she is keeping the real one, for security reasons, but Princess Ironfang has held on long enough and declares it's time to celebrate his long-awaited return by partying hard and flirting even harder, leaving Sun deeply uncomfortable as he quickly processes the ramifications of doing his espionage in the form of this woman's husband. He finally gets her back on track on the where exactly is the fan question, and she responds by spitting out a really tiny one. Sun stares at it in abject confusion for a minute before Princess Ironfang explains that, as he knows, obviously the fan is hidden in its travel-size mode, until he touches the specific thread on the handle and recites the spell that'll change it into its full-sized form, just like so. Sun thanks her for her help and drops the illusion, suggests she dial back on the drinking a little bit, and then bolts, leaving Princess Ironfang once again absolutely furious. Sun, meanwhile, busts out the spell she told him and makes the fan big, and quickly realizes he never got back to small again, so he just slips her and
Mine is faster! Including West?
Extinguished and the way forward clear at last, our heroes can finally continue their journey to the west. The Monkey King's destined battle with one he once called brother has been concluded. Could this be the end of their trials and tribulations, or will there be more battles yet to face before they set foot in the Thunderclap Monastery? Find out next time on Journey to the West. Last time on Journey to the West, a fated confrontation centuries in the making finally boiled over in a mountain of flames. Sun Wukong the king in a terrifying clash of absolute power, striving to win the secret fan kingdom, extinguishing the final embers of the Monkey King's greatest crime. The armies of heaven poured out in force to fight alongside the siege they once stood to. The sun had grown far beyond his favorite rampage through heaven, and with the aid of the friends he made along the way, the Demon King was at long last defeated, and our heroes were once more free to continue their journey to the west. So our heroes are trekking westward, and after the thrilling culmination of the Bull Demon King's family dynamic of doom, the journey has fallen back into a rather predictable formula. Demons threaten innocent kingdoms with untold injustices and pointless suffering. Our heroes smack them around until they stop. Tripitaka gets a little bit kidnapped, so Wukong swoops in to save the day. Mountains are full of problems, punching them is a solution. With the entire army of heaven on speed dial and the tacit support of every bodhisattva that's ever lived, there are only so many ways the universe can complicate our hero's simple westward journey, and it's starting to feel like it might be running out of ideas. Still, the universe gives it the old college try, and one last mountain towers in the road, peaks scraping the heavens themselves. But Sun's clearly all out of patience with mountains because he doesn't even dignify it with punching. He just shouts real loud, and the entire resident menagerie of apex predators recognize the sound of a problem well outside their weight class and collectively book it out of the way. Then a single strike of the Monkey King's staff splits the mountain down the middle and opens a nice, easy route free and clear. And our heroes are stunned to see, shining beyond the mountain, an absolutely beautiful Buddhist monastery. In fact, it's none other than the Buddhist monastery.
The Thunderclap Monastery. That's right, it's finally happening. After all these years, all these tribulations, all that effort, Tripitaka is beyond overjoyed to finally lay eyes on his ultimate destination. It's gorgeous, radiant, light, whistling mountains, glistening mountains, right on the side there, beyond the banks of the sea, seated on his lotus throne and shining with holy light, is none other than
Oh, you can do that too? Eyebrow guy.
Shapeshifting ability to effortlessly rig himself out, followed by literally everybody else. The escape plan only goes awry when he tries to retrieve everyone's weapons and gear and accidentally raises the alarm again, escalating everything into a knockdown, drag-out brawl, but ends when Eyebrow Guy busts out the sash again. Sun tries to fool the others, but in the end can only save himself before Eyebrow Guy recaptures everybody and puts them straight back on square one. Sun indulges in a minor breakdown about this before trying Plan B, going out and getting more help. He runs down a short list of various big-name demon quellers and their associates, but none of them can stand up to the sash any better than he could, and all this accomplishes is adding more captured gods to the growing pile in Eyebrow Guy's secret lair. Sun is about to break down completely when an unexpected vibe interrupts his dark and brooding present. Joy, laughter, mirth even. Rocking up on a colorful cloud of mist and merriment is none other than Budai, the laughing Buddha himself. And
Piccolo.
this whole situation Sun is struggling through is Budai's problem too. See, Eyebrow Guy is actually one of his disciples gone rogue. That sash he's been using to capture everybody is Budai's iconic cloth sack, which he'd really like to get back. And as befits a guy who's a bit of a jovial prankster, he and Sun concoct a scheme full of comedy hijinks to save the day. For step one of the master plan, Sun zips back to the lair of Eyebrow Guy and goads him into a chase. Eyebrow Guy pursues him relentlessly, but loses sight of him right when he arrives at a melon farm, curating a field full of perfectly ripe melons. Since it's been a long set of fight scenes, Eyebrow Guy's worked up a bit of a thirst.
first, and he asks the farmer for the biggest, juiciest melon he's got. The happy farmer happily obliges, but unfortunately, that juicy melon is none other than the expertly disguised Sun Wukong himself, who once again falls to his pro strat of it's easier to punch the guy's organs from inside the guy's organs. The fight is over before it's begun, as Eyebrow Guy surrenders and pleads for mercy from Budai, who retrieves the bag, but wonders where his precious golden symbols went. He and Sun head back to the cave to retrieve the fragments of the irreplaceable sacred artifact Sun busted up, and while Sun gets in a little rampaging and cleans the place out, Budai magically restores his symbols and returns to the heavens from whence he came. Sun frees the imprisoned gods as well as his traveling companions, and our heroes continue their journey westward. It's not long before they run into a pleasant mountain village where Tripitaka hopes to spend the night, but they quickly learn from a local old man that the village really isn't as pleasant as it seems. For one thing, they live downwind of a giant valley full of persimmon trees, which is nice and picturesque one week of the year and unimaginably disgusting the other 51, when all the persimmons fall into the valley and rot into a giant mass of stinking slime. And on top of that, they're also being haunted by a murder demon that keeps eating people. Sun initially diagnoses them with a community issue, since if they really cared about getting rid of a demon, they would just pool their funds and hire an exorcist. But the old man fires back that they did, and the guy they hired died, and then the villagers had to cover the cost of his funeral and pay off the exorcist's apprentice who threatened to sue them. And then they hired another exorcist, and that guy died too. Sun, of course, volunteers himself at Pixie to be take 3, and insists on being paid only in snacks, which is a tremendous relief to the village's faltering GDP. It's not long before an ominous wind kicks up and the demon arrives, shrouded in darkness and eerily silent. Pixie finds this very intimidating, but Sun points out during the battle that since the demon can't seem to talk, that implies it's still fairly underpowered and will need to flee at sunrise. Sure enough, it bolts, and our heroes chase it past the giant, disgusting valley of rotting persimmons and straight to its lair, which is pretty low property value as demon lairs go, since it's really just a hole in the ground. The demon reveals its true form, which turns out to be a giant red snake that has accumulated just enough demonic mojo to become big and shadowy and extra carnivorous, but is not yet leveled up enough to take on a humanoid form. It takes a little maneuvering to get it out of its hidey hole again, but it eventually makes the rookie mistake of eating Sun Wukong whole, which, unfortunately, just gives him access to all its most punchable organs again. The demon is defeated, and the boys return in triumph with the dead snake.
Oh!
Now they just need to deal with the big stinky mountain.
Wait a second.
Fortunately, Sun
This creature likes eating people? Ooh, excellent. Turn me into an, throw me. What? Turn into an apple. A sword, throw me! Yeah! Yay! Look how delicious I am! Oh, I could use a bite. Yo!
And so our heroes trek westward some more until they encounter a giant orbit city known as the Star of immediately track the crowd to the successful this place is well outside the Tang Empire's sphere of influence, so they don't have any diplomatic ground to stand on. The king finds that the king has some other priorities and places first. Dragon King files super battle.
He may be quintuply immortal, but he's got me. I got my ass beat so bad.
Jupiter's rival is unconcerned, since while they may have an array of powerful impacts and backups, he has on his side the sacred treasures that caused that big explosion earlier. But he tells the courier to let the queen know her husband is coming for her, since even though his efforts are doomed, it would be fun to cheer her up a little before crushing Rhodes entirely. Son obligingly heads to the quarters of the queen, who is very beautiful, but clearly very unhappy to be there, and thus very uninterested in being presentable or personable. He cheerfully explains to the queen that her husband is about to go to war, but he also had a special message just for her that he can't share with the other servants around. She dismisses them, and he immediately wipes off his disguise and tells her not to be scared. He's here to save her. He shows her the bracelet the king loaned him, and the two of them promptly get to work on planning her rescue. Fortunately, she knows a lot about Jupiter's rival and his weapons. She tells Sun that his most dangerous tool is a set of 3 golden bells that conjure fire, smoke, and toxic sand. He never takes them off, but Sun tells the queen that she is going to need to help him with that. She'll need to persuade the demon to give the bells to her. Sun heads back to Jupiter's rival and tells him he told the queen the king didn't want her anymore. And now that she's realized there's no hope of rescue, she's ready to make herself his consort once and for all. Jupiter's rival goes all cartoon wolf whistle about it, but plus wants the queen to actually touch the bells. So she tells him he's so desperate. Gives them just this explosion.
gender inanimate objects. Man. $1,000 Dallas, huh? Oh yeah, the penguin! I love the penguins! Turn into a penguin!
Managed to shapeshift into a pangolin and dig his way out, emerging a full 20 miles away from the deadly light show and immediately collapsing with exhaustion and despair. Just when he's sure there's nobody more miserable in the world than he is, he hears the sound of weeping and a woman appears.
Oh, my poor dead husband!
By that many-eyed fiend, demon lord of 100 eyes. If only someone could travel several thousand miles due south to seek out the aid of the Bodhisattva Pralamba, who is surely the only one who can defeat such an evil. And if only they could do it fast enough that the poison that takes 3 days to kill wouldn't kill their friends first. Sun knows enough to recognize a goddess in disguise when he sees one, but he's not going to look a gift exposition in the mouth, and he jets
Cloud
himself
Mountain.
to the beautiful mountain home of Pralamba, a regal old woman who recognizes him from his happy-independent days and congratulates him on his turn to side kind. And you might through 72 chapters be able to even know the past. But your friend Evan one time. Anyway, Pralamba is happy to help, and since her choice she'll be using an embroidery needle, which Sun is initially very skeptical about, but she insists on lines to perfection with the help of her son, the Star-Lord now. You may recall the Scorpion Needles incident where he defeated her handling his true form, and it this rooster. In the end, he do rock, paper, scissors, chickens beat bugs every time, and Sun connects a few dots and decides to let her cook with this one. Sure enough, Pralamba and her embroidery needle have a shockingly potent effect on the many-eyed fiend, and those 1,000 laser eyes get sealed shut real quick, leaving the demon paralyzed, while Sun gives the other pilgrims the antidote to the poison. Pralamba explains that the many-eyed fiend is nothing more than she can probably take him so easily because if her son is a rooster, it makes sense that she would be like him. The Sunbeam demon is going to be doing his computer service and training on
Name, rank, serial number. use the means of production for themselves. Adesso Toshima o no quale presso.
all mysteriously vanished in the night. The king is in despair, but the royal father-in-law tells him this is actually a blessing in disguise and a sign that the gods approve of his plan. See, that Buddhist monk who just left has a heart 1,000 times more powerful than all those boys put together. And if they make the medicine with him instead, the king will easily live for 10,000 years. Sun, who was obviously eavesdropping, flies off to warn Tripitaka and put a new plan in place. Before the soldiers come, he and Tripitaka are going to swap. With Tripitaka disguised as an unusually quiet Sun Wukong, the king's soldiers arrive and march an unusually enthusiastic Tripitaka back up
Well,
to
of
the
course
palace.
I'll return to the palace.
If he's willing to give
Fine.
the king his heart. Tripitaka is, of course, happy to oblige, but he says they'll need to be more specific.
Which one?
He has so many.
I have so many.
Carves himself starts pulling out a ton of hearts. A red one, a yellow one, a green
Murder,
one, any
Swedish fish snacks, crime, fighting.
but none of them are
That
the
is
blend
a
of
lot.
art that the Taoist wants to see. The king is, understandably,
Joey?
extremely freaked out by all this, and
Spec
Tripitaka
fixing.
presses the advantage to accuse the Taoist of being the only truly black-hearted person here, and if they'll permit him, he'll fully rip him open to prove it. This is all a bit much for the royal, and he immediately skedaddles demon style and takes his own way. Sun pursues, but the demon manages to evade him and escape. Sun returns to the others to undisguise himself as Tripitaka and catch everyone up on what the hell just happened. After a quick explanation and a nice Sun and Pixie scoot off to track down that demon and see if they can't wrap this up cleanly to make sure the problem doesn't come back. Upon investigation, they manage to find the demon's extremely well-hidden cave and bust into its ass. The fight isn't hard, but as they're about to do the finishing blow, they're intercepted by a god they've never dealt with before, the old star of the South Pole, who flies in and grabs them and reveals his true form. Although when the demon grabs the first king's
Oh, my dad can possibly do that. Having a quote-unquote wife do anything that isn't boning? Are you sure? Oh no, I'm totally defeated! What will I ever do? Oh wait, really? Is there 13 seasons? Well, 13 episodes, really? Is all of them? I went through all of them? Huh. Well, alright. That ends my, that ends my stream.